Latest football news,
engaging debates,
and fascinating opinions.
Pitchside Talk on IO Radio.
Hello and welcome back to Pitchside Talk here on IO Radio, Fridays at 5 p.m. for another week of football action with your host as always, George. How are you doing? Hope you're having a great week. Hope you're enjoying all the lovely weather outside if it's not too windy. I hope you are enjoying that. And all the football action as well we've had football in the midweek, European games. You've got to absolutely love it. That's why we love football this time of the year, because we get down to the business end of football and we absolutely love it. And as always this week, I'm joined by my co-host and a resident Ipswich Town fan. It is Dan, as always. Mate, how are you doing? Fortunately, we couldn't record last week due to technical issues, which I absolutely hate when we can't record the technical issues. But it's good to see you once again, mate.
Yeah, it's good to be back again for another show. Yeah, it's been an interesting week. It's always good to talk about the running, isn't it? It always gets exciting coming up to the end of the season, and international break is over, so We're all happy about that, I think, as well.
International break's over. The run into the season's here, but it's nice to have the run into the season. But at this time of the year, it's the run in the season. It's when you just get used to football being back, and then it's going again. And you're like, oh. Can't you just stay for another month? No, can't.
No.
So annoying. Well, I better mention the social medias. Twitter is at Pitchside Talk. Instagram is at Talk_Pitch. YouTube, Mixcolour, both at Pitchside Talk. If you want to listen back to any of our previous shows, do not worry. They're all up there on YouTube and Mixcloud. And what is coming in today's show? Well, we'll be talking about Ipswich Town versus Cambridge United. Yes, a local game happened on Saturday. It wasn't a derby. It's not this derby palaver. It's a local game. I think that's what we should set on. It's a local game. And also we'll be mentioning about the fan forum stuff, which happened a few weeks ago as well, which we unfortunately didn't get a chance to talk about last week, but we'll talk about it this week as well. We'll be talking about the Premier League game week 31, as we saw the top two race now tightening up a little bit. Also the top four and the relegation battle as well, getting all very interesting as well. And the first legs of the quarterfinals of the Champions League happened on Tuesday and Wednesday, and we'll be doing a quick roundup of that as well. So when we come back, we'll be talking about Ipswich Town versus Cambridge United and what happened on Saturday in this local game. Don't go anywhere.
Stay up to date with the latest footy news.
Pitchside Talk on IO Radio.
Hello and welcome back to Pitchside Talk here on IO Radio's Fridays at 5 p.m. Your host is always George, and I'm joined by my co-host as always, Dan, for another week of football action here on Pitchside Talk. And now, before we get on talking about Ipswich Town versus Cambridge United this week, I better mention the social medias. Twitter is at Pitchside Talk. Instagram is at Talk_Pitch. YouTube, Mixcolour, both at Pitchside Talk. If you want to listen back to any pre-shows, do not worry. They're all up there on YouTube and Mixcolour for you to have a listen back to. And last week, we saw Town get back to winning ways with a win over playoff chasing Plymouth, which saw that points gap reduce, and some results went their way as well. Oh, for once, results went Town's way. We absolutely love it. And Town headed into these last six games of the season with a chance to close that gap down further, but they knew losing one of those games could spell an end to their playoff hopes for the season. But up first was Cambridge United at Portman Road, which saw 28,000 fans cram in to Portman Road. I think 26,000 and plus from Town side, and about 2,000 Cambridge fans as well, packed into Portman Road, with Ipswich Town aiming to make it 12 games unbeaten and continue that unbeaten run at home under Kieran McKenna. However, Cambridge, they came into this game here looking to make it 2 wins in a row after picking up their first win against AFC Wimbledon last time out, ending their drought of 5 games with no win. But on the day, Ipswich Town's playoff hopes suffered the final blow as Cambridge United delivered that terminal blow in a 1-0 loss, seeing that point gap now increased to 8 points with 5 games to go. Dan, a very, very disappointing result here. A big, big blow. A blow that we knew if Town suffered one more blow, it could be the end to those playoff hopes. And it seems this one here has been the final blow. They're in the nail in the coffin for the playoff hopes this season. And what we can really describe in a very lackluster performance, which really came out of the blue, really, for Town.
yeah, it was really unexpected, wasn't it? I don't think anyone was really expecting it because we've been playing well for so long that it's kind of we don't even think about losing. So yeah, it was a bit of a surprise and quite disappointing, as you say. It kind of knocked our playoff hopes away, which is a bit frustrating and disappointing. I think we all knew that playoffs were probably a long shot in the long run because we were. I don't know how many points off we were going into the Cambridge game, 5 or 6, with
I want to
6
say
games
it's
to go.
5. I want to say it's 5,
Yeah,
but don't quote me on that.
yeah. So we knew it was going to be, it was possible, but it was going to be difficult, especially with every team in and around us winning every week as well, which, this season has been crazy in that sense that teams have just been really good at winning games. So yeah, it's disappointing in the end. The game, we just couldn't get going. I think Cambridge came into the game and knew what kind of game plan they wanted to implement. We couldn't, pass the ball around as well as we could before. I think the midfield looked a bit isolated at times. I think, I think especially I think second half we kind of tried to put our kind of game plan on it, but it still didn't really go our way, and we were begging for chances, and it just had to be an own goal down the other end that killed us off in the second half. And I think when that goal went in, you kind of got the sense you knew where the game was going, that we weren't going to be able to get anything out of it, which is disappointing and unlike us. And McKenna said that after the game as well. It was a poor performance. They're going to happen from time to time. We're not going to win every single game, but especially against a team that are down in the bottom of the league. I think they're safe, aren't they, Cambridge? But they're still a team you should be beating really at home, which is disappointing. But I'm not going to go too crazy and say how bad we are or whatever. It's been a fantastic few months, so I'm sure one loss isn't going to hurt the players too much. I don't think. I'll cross fingers about that. Because we have got 2 tough games coming up at the end of this season. So yeah, a disappointing result and disappointing for playoffs to be kind of gone now. But I feel like we already kind of knew that it was going to be a long shot, really.
Yeah, I think the writing had been on the walls really for the last few weeks, but very subtly on the walls. But it's now firmly and truly on the walls. But for Kieran McKenna, once again, he faced the media, some questions from the media after the game, where he delivered, I think, another very honest review of Town's performance, saying it was one of our worst performances in a while, adding it is a very disappointing day for everyone involved. I thought it was certainly one of our worst performances in quite a while, especially the first half. The performance wasn't at the levels we expected. Look, it's definitely a step back in terms of performance and in terms of a result. It is the first game we've lost in a while. We need to learn from this. We are disappointed at the moment, but it is a team that has to develop very well over the last period, and we need to use this as a big learning block and a big motivation as we look to move forward from here. Dan, he's always honest as anything, Kieran McKenna here, but I think there's one thing that a lot of people maybe have noticed the game was his lineup selection. He hasn't mentioned that at all in his interview, but should he maybe talk about his lineup reflection? Because there was quite a few questions with some of the players playing, especially Tom Carroll, who got quite a lot of the headlines really in the limelight from that performance. With Town sort of going, he shouldn't really be playing for us, and why was he playing over Backington, who's been playing for quite a number of weeks now, suddenly to be dropped for Carroll, which came out very much out of the blue, really, and shouldn't be happening. But he's right that they need to learn all together, and it's a team to learn together. But they shouldn't be losing games like this when they're just beating Plymouth, should they?
No, we shouldn't. And you kind of think coming off of a win against Plymouth, who are doing so well in the league at the moment, you think that would get us keep the momentum going. But yeah, the lineup was strange. I think Carroll was a really strange player to be brought in. We know we've got options there, and Lee Evans is out injured, but Backington has kind of grew into that position, hasn't he? He kind of started off okay. I thought he'd have an okay game and then a pretty poor one. But over the last few weeks, he's been playing really well. And every game I keep saying, that's the best game he's played for us. So I was quite disappointed that he weren't in, and it proved because Tom Carroll, there's obviously a player in there, and he hasn't played in the Premier League for no reason, but it just isn't working for him here. Every time I've seen him play, he's a bit too weak. He's always looking to pass backwards, which I don't think is McKenna's style of play. He wants to play, possession football, but bring the ball forward at the same time and not just pass it around for no reason. So it was frustrating to watch him, give the ball away at some points, make sloppy passes. I hope he improves because he is our player. He's not a lone player, and if he can get up to how he was for Swansea, then because I remember when we signed him, the Swansea fans saying that he was a decent player. But yeah, it was just disappointing that Backinson missed out because, as I say, he's massively improved since he joined in on loan, and I feel like he's just got used to how we're playing and how Morsey plays next to him. So that was definitely disappointing. People are talking about the strikers a lot. We're having a lot of talk about that, whether we should play two strikers. I don't think two strikers is the answer to everything. I know some people would disagree, but we just need a goal scorer. That's what we desperately need, and I think that's what we'll be looking for in the summer. Is a player that can score goals, and with the service to the forward players is fine. It's just that final ball. And maybe two strikers would work, and maybe he could test a different formation in these last 5 games. We never know what will happen, as it's not much to play for anymore. So, yeah, I'm not going to, say that his team sheets are wrong, and I'm not going to question McKenna's team selection because it's worked pretty well so far. It's just, a few different pointers that fans are making, like, Carroll starting, that I guess can be talked about, because I'm just, disappointed that Backinson didn't start.
Yeah, so it was a very interesting decision, really. I think to not see Backinson and not starting. Somebody who's been probably the most consistent partner to Sam Morsey, who's not named Lee Evans. Please get back soon, please. We really do need you. It was a very interesting decision. I think we all seen that McKenna's tactical decisions don't usually, what we've seen the last few months, they don't usually backfire. They usually work quite well, but this one definitely did backfire. Well, as you mentioned, Dan, there is still 5 games to go of this season, with Shrewsbury away, Rotherham away, Wigan at home, Crewe Alexandra away, and Charlton away to end the season. 18 points up for grabs on the table. 8 points off to the playoffs, but with 4 teams above them with games in hand, I think we all can say Town's playoff hopes are pretty much done and dusted, unless something of a miracle, how many, probably 10 miracles happen in the space of a week, come into our favour. Town might make playoffs. Probably not. But, does, as you mentioned, do these now final 5 games here feel like competitive pre-season games, really? Because the lowest they can finish is what? 11th. At the lowest is 11th, right? What's, the difference between 9th and 11th is practically nothing. They're still going to be in the top half table, but doesn't it feel that these games here are now competitive pre-season games, really? Because they've got to get these things right. Next season, they've got to get promoted. There's a lot of investment going around the ground. If you believe the rumours of all the investments going to be changed around Portland Road, they're going to get this stadium ready to be up there with some of the high quality stadiums you see, championship level, maybe bottom of the Premier League level. They're going to get Portland Road ready. They're getting everything right off the pitch. It's not working on the pitch, but they've got to get things right, because another season in League One could spell problems of our American owners, Game Changer, who have been now at the club for just over a year yesterday. They'll be going, what are we putting our money into if we're not getting results on the pitch?
Yeah, you're right. And I guess they knew when they came in that it wasn't going to be instant success, and I'm sure I think they said that in their interviews as well. They knew it was going to be a difficult task, but it gets to a point where staying in League One is not going to be viable for them, is it? With the money they're putting in, I'm sure staying in League One with the amount of money they're invested in the club won't return as much. So something needs to change on the pitch. I think it has done since McKenna's come in, and I really believe he's the right man to take us back to the Championship. I think he's definitely shown that. So next season is absolutely massive, and I think it is a year ago today actually that the owners took over, which is kind of interesting. It's been a strange year, hasn't it? I don't think it's mostly good things that have happened, but we've got another season in League One next year, and hopefully McKenna can work his magic next season. But yeah, with five games to go, with nothing to play for, I guess it does kind of feel like a glorified pre-season. But I don't think I'm going to go into these games looking at it like that. I think we just need to get as much points as we can, really, and finish as high up the table as we can. Because, as you say, it's going to take a miracle for us to get in the playoffs. It's gone now. We kind of need to win all 5 of these games and every team above us to lose for it to happen. So, that's the disappointing thing. But I do hope to see some youngsters. I think it'll be good to see Tyree Simpson or Elkin Baggett or even Cameron Humphreys come in to have a go in these last 5 games. But I don't think McKenna is going to rock the boat too much. I think we've got a lot of momentum, so I feel like he just wants to keep that going to the real pre-season of next year.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like someone who's going to rock the boat. But I was going to actually ask you about that. Will we possibly see?
Were you?
Sorry. Youngsters? No, that's all right. No, it's absolutely fine. I just thought of it, but the youngsters, we know we've got a few. Tyree Simpson's come back on loan from Swindon Town. He hasn't been playing the side. I think there's a lot of talks about the moment about his agent not very happy. He's not been playing Town, and why was he called back? And we do, a lot of under 23 youngsters. Dobber was back in the under 23 side as well for that whole game. All of a sudden, he's on loan at Colchester United, and he's for some reason playing for Town under 23s. Very surprising, but we'll have to wait and see. And well, that is all for the action for Town on the pitch. But a few weeks ago, we had a fan forum session, the 3rd one of the season, and probably the 3rd one of the last 15 years. I don't think there actually has been as many fan forums ever at Town. I think it's strange, isn't it, Dan? I still can't get my head around for having fan forums, sessions with players, managers.
Marcus Evans wasn't that kind of owner, was he? Unfortunately, so yeah, the 3rd one in 15 years. It feels weird to say that. They've all been this season.
Yeah, I don't think he believes in media interaction.
No.
Doesn't believe in that. But the 3rd one of the season happened with Kieran McKenna being there, the Ipswich Town manager, the CEO, Mark Ashton, and the director of football. If I'm correct, Dan, his role as the director of football, Andy Rolls. I think he's director of football.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Well, he is now.
I can't remember the title they gave him actually. Yeah. I can't.
This is awkward. I should know this.
Yeah. Well, we don't really hear much about him, do we? He's kind of one of the magicians behind the scenes, I think.
Yes, he is. He's director of performance. Sorry, not director.
Performance. Okay.
Performance. Well, director of football and performance are basically the same thing these days.
Yeah.
So nobody will notice. But they took part in the fan forum session, which lasts for about an hour and a half, and we have quite a few main takeaways from that fan forum. And starting off with one of them is a new head of recruitment has been appointed at Town. Yes, a new head of recruitment. We've never had one of those. Well, we've got one now, and that is in Sam Williamson, whose previous job was the recruitment analysis and scout from Manchester United, who has previously worked as a scout as well at Sheffield Wednesday and Bolton, which has led Kieran McKenna to say he can make a big difference for us. We've already seen that at the moment because there's 2 Manchester United youngsters training with the Town side at the moment. very interesting. They might be here next season. We do not know. Kenner hasn't ruled that one out just yet. Also, a strong start to season tickets as well for the next year, for next season, sorry, for hashtag our time. Ashton confirming over 2,000 tickets were sold in the first 36 hours, and that's a 41% increase on new season ticket holders as well. And he has said he doesn't see a reason why the club can't reach an average attendance of 28,000 every single game at Portman Road. My word, if that happens each week, nobody's getting out of town on a Saturday night. I tell you that for nothing. And also, Kieran McKenna, his future was a big talking point. He was asked about whether he can confirm he'll see himself at Portman Road for a long period of time. We do know that he has got a 2.5-year contract. We don't know if anything in the sort of behind the scenes is being worked on, and also ambitions at the top, which led to saying a long, lengthy statement saying how much he loves working at a club. You know, there's a project here which he wants to see develop through with a good period of time. He's enjoying the Suffolk life as well. He's getting quite settled to it, and he's enjoying the sunset and all that. And he's hoping to get a house and a school for his children to be settled in as well in the local area. So I think he's basically confirmed he's here for the long run. Do not worry, Town fans. He's not going away anytime soon. And one of the main talking points was a summer transfer window as well, with Kieran McKenna basically setting out his ambitions. He wants to build a young, hungry, technical, athletic squad of players who have a real passion to play for this football club. He feels that the squad is in a good place right now, but he feels that there's improvements needed in the squad, and possibly a loss of depth as well in the squad. But with a loss of depth, he wants to add a bit more quality to the side as well. But Dan, some quite interesting key takeaways away from this fan forum. I think probably the most news-heavy fan forum we've had for a long time. I don't think the other two have had this much news. And then with a new head of recruitment, season ticket sales are already going well for next season, which is good to see a good uptake. Kieran McKenna basically saying he's staying at Town. He loves the project. He's looking to settle in the area, and the ambitions for the summer transfer as well. With the squad needs improving, losing some depth, which I think has been Town's main problem. Despite getting rid of 19 players last season, adding 22 still puts some depth into that squad. But also as well, he wants to add some quality, which I think we can see that is lacking from Town sometimes. Maybe quality in the striker, midfield, and defensive won't go at all, won't hurt Town at all.
It won't, no. And it was a really positive fan forum. And as we've said before, it's actually good that we're doing these now. It's, the owners aren't holding back with questions. They'll answer to the best of their ability, whatever question we've had. And to be interacting with fans is brilliant. We've had some really good talking points in here, as you say. So it will be interesting. McKenna's comments on the summer, and with these Man United youngsters training, that'll be interesting to see if they join in the summer. But of course, there is, even though we've been playing so well this season, there is areas that we need to improve. And I think I've said on this show countless times, and fans have said it, that we're so close to being perfect. We just need a goal scorer. I think that's the main thing we need. So if we can get that in this summer, I'm sure next season will be a really successful season. And of course, Mark Ashton talking about good things about this club, and he hoping that this summer's not going to be as busy as it was last year. I'm sure he got a bit tired last year. All the transfer business. So good to hear about that, and hear about the improvements that they're going to try and put around Portman Road with electronic advertising boards and things like that. Obviously they bought the area behind the south stand, so it'll be interesting to see what we do with that. But yeah, it was really good to listen to, and all positive things. And this club is in great hands, and with the backing from the American owners, with Mark Ashton and Mike O'Leary here at the club, I think the future is so bright at this club. And it's the first time since I've really been a Town fan that I've really been excited for the future. So long may it continue, because, we've got work to do, but with the people at the club, it's definitely possible to get there.
Yes, the future looks bright for Town. What it sounds like at the moment, the future does look very bright for Ipswich Town, which is really good to see. So Ipswich Town, they're making the 3-hour-long trip to Shrewsbury Town this weekend as they search for a strong end to the season after their playoffs hopes took a massive blow last Saturday. So Shrewsbury Town, they are currently in 16th place in League One. They received their last 3 games in a row with a win over Rotherham away from home, but last time out they lost 2-0 to MK Dons. Dan, Ipswich, we all know they're just now looking for a strong end to the season after that loss to Cambridge. Did really end those playoff hopes now, but they're playing a Shrewsbury side here who are aiming to bounce back and get some revenge on the last meeting where they played Town, where they lost 2-1 at Portman Road.
Yeah, I think it's the first time we've kind of gone into a game where both teams don't really have anything to play for. So it'll be interesting how we line up against the Shrewsbury side, who, as you say, have won 3 in a row recently. Lost their last game against MK Dons, but they beat Rotherham, so we can't go into this game thinking it's going to be an easy one. It's going to be a tough one away from home, but we need to bounce back and obviously end this season strongly. And I think McKenna will get these players riled up for this one, because we need to bounce back from a disappointing performance. So I'm going to go for a win. I think it will be a 2-1 Town, and we'll bring 3 points back to Suffolk.
Cool. Dan's going for a 2-1 win. Sorry, not 2-0. 2-1 win against Shrewsbury Town on Saturday. All 3 points going back to Suffolk. Wow. I'm a little bit shocked, actually. A little bit shocked, but don't know why I am. But yeah, that's what Dan's going for this Saturday's game. Let us know on Twitter what you think the score prediction would be using, if you're asking us on Pitch I Talk, let us know what you think the score will be between Shrewsbury Town and Ipswich Town. So that is all for your Ipswich news this week. And when we come back, we'll be talking about the Premier League game week number 31, which did not disappoint until after a little break from the international break. And we'll get on that right after this.
The best place in Ipswich to hear the latest football debates, Pitchside Talk on IO Radio.
Hello and welcome back to Pitchside Talk here on IO Radio's Fridays at 5 p.m. with your host as always, George, and I'm joined by my co-host as always, Dan, as always, my co-host. I'll get my lines all muddled up. This is not a good start to the back of the show here. But before we talk about the Premier League, I better mention the social media talk. Social medias. What's going on, Dan? I can't speak. Social medias. Social media. Twitter is at Pitchside Talk. Instagram is at Talk_Pitch. YouTube it's got both at Pitchside Talk. If you want us back to any of previous shows, or do not worry. If you missed anything from today's show, it'll be up at 6 p.m. on a Friday on the YouTube Mix Club. If you missed us talking about Ipswich Town against Cambridge United, the playoff hopes for this season, and the fan forum, so do not worry. It's all up there on YouTube Mix Club at 6 p.m. Now, last week, the Premier League took a little break as the international breaks rolled around. It was around the corner. It was here. But after that little break, game week 31, the first game week back, did not disappoint as the race to the title hotted up and a highly anticipated clashes around the corner as well. The top 4 took another twist and turn this week with some dramatic results. And that relegation battle, it is hotting up down there, especially now after a big game that happened on Wednesday. It could change the course of everything for 2 clubs. But let's have a look at the results from this week. And it started off with a 2-0 win for Liverpool against Watford. Brighton draws 0-0 with Norwich. Manchester City, they won 2-0 against Burnley. Chelsea lost 4-1 to Brentford. Yes, that is correct. Brentford scored 4 goals at Stamford Bridge, beating Chelsea 4-1. Leeds drew 1-1 with Southampton. Wolves won 2-0 against Aston Villa. And Manchester United drew 1-1 with Leicester. And then for Sunday, West Ham, they won 2-1 against Everton. Spurs scored 5 against Newcastle, ending that to 5-1. And for Monday Night Football, Arsenal lost 3-0 to Crystal Palace. Patrick Vieira's side picking up a win against Arsenal. But Dan, we better start off with this top 2 race. It is hotting up right there. Liverpool versus Man City is now striking distance. Liverpool, they won against Watford, going top for the first time since October, but only for a matter of hours before Man City strike back with a 2-0 win against Burnley. But that game, we've got a big game on Sunday, which is between Manchester City and Liverpool at the Etihad. Do you feel that that game there could be what we call the title decider with the running coming up really now for both these sides here? With Man City, if they win that game, they'll go 4 points clear. Might not be in touching distance. We all know how many points in this Premier League season is a massive. But if Liverpool win this here, they'll go top of the league, and it'll be the first time Man City will be sitting outside the first place for more than a couple hours, and for be for a week or so. But that game, it's going to be so massive, isn't it?
It is huge, and you could say it is going to be the title decider. I feel like it's massive how much Man City were so far ahead, weren't they? Not even that long ago. It's crazy the gap has come down so quickly, and you just feel like Liverpool can't lose or drop any points at the moment. For Man City, I feel like they've got a tendency to just lose one game against someone and then pick up loads of wins again. So it's going to be really interesting. And obviously the game coming up is absolutely huge. And it could easily go either way. But it's exciting to see the league table this close. I know it's only 2 teams involved, but coming up to the end of the season, we usually don't like it when a team is so far ahead, and we thought it was going to be like that coming the end of the season with Man City. But it's great to see the table hotting up again coming up to the end of the season. So let's see, let's just wait and see how this goes and who's gonna come out on top, because it's on a knife edge, isn't it?
It is on a knife edge. But I'm going to ask you the most probably difficult question in world football at the moment. Who is going to come out on top on Sunday? And whoever comes out on top on Sunday, will they win the league from there on in? Because this game is being described as a title decider, but there is still 8 more games to go, or 7 more games to go after this one here. So it's not a title decider just yet.
No, of course not. We never know what will happen in this league. We've seen everything. So who knows what could happen? But for the next game, it's how my predictions are. They never usually come out as true. So I don't like predicting massive games, but I'll do it anyway. I feel like there's not a lot of things that can stop Liverpool at the moment. So I feel like you're going to be happy me saying this, but I think Liverpool are going to come out on top and go top of the league in this one. I think it'll be a close one, and I don't think it'll be an easy game at all, obviously coming up against Man City. But it could easily be a draw as well. So who knows? But yeah, I'm gonna predict Liverpool are going to come out on top. You watch Man City go and win 3-0 now.
Yeah, you just jinxed it. Why did I ask that question? I shouldn't ask.
Yeah, I know.
I should have stopped myself. I never learn. Well, that is for the top 2, but for the top 4 race, we saw some more twists and turns in that top 4 race with Arsenal, Man U, Tottenham, and West Ham all changing positions this weekend. Manchester United, they drawed against Leicester, failing to close in on that top 4 spot, which saw West Ham get back to winning ways after recent results saw them drop outside the top 4 spots. Spurs, they hit 5 against Newcastle, going into that top 4 spot the first time since August, since they've been in the top 4. And that was when they were leading the league. Yes, they were leading the league at one point. Remember that back in August under Nuno? Me neither. And then with Arsenal, they had a chance to reclaim their spot after their rivals took that spot away from them, but they failed to do so with a 3-0 loss to Crystal Palace, which now sees Spurs in 4th place on 54 points, Arsenal in 5th place on 54 points, but behind on goal difference. West Ham on 51 points in 6th, and Manchester United on 51 points in 7th. Dan, some big twists and turns here, but this is now feel like it could now be potentially a race between Spurs and Arsenal, because both sides here have got games in hand. We do have to remember here that Spurs and Arsenal have still got to play each other, which is probably going to be the pivotal moment, which will probably decide who will finish in fourth place here. But does it now feel like this is now, even though that Manchester United and West Ham are in striking distance and can still get in the top four, but don't have games in hand, these two do. Does it feel like it's going to be down to these two who's going to get that top four spot?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the league table, it's kind of what you're looking at, isn't it? And I'd say it's going to be between these two. I feel like that's just the favourites for fourth place. So it's really hotting up, and especially between two massive rivals who, as you say, have still got to play each other. Obviously, Arsenal have got a game in hand over Tottenham, so that could be pivotal by the end of the season as well. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting end to the season to see who gets in top four as well. Obviously, Arsenal had been looking really good recently, but then came up against Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park and put in, a poor performance and lost 3-0 there, which didn't help them. And Tottenham, were fantastic and against Newcastle, and they've improved as well, haven't they, under Conte, who we all know is a world class manager, and if he's got the players behind him, he can do anything at this level. So it's, again, but the same as Man City and Liverpool, it's on a knife edge, and I don't think you can call it, because both teams have been looking good, this half of the season. So again, it's just going to be waiting and seeing who gets the results, and it's going to come down to, hopefully it's going to come down to the final games, because that's when it gets most exciting. And as you say, you can't rule out West Ham and Man United yet. As I said before, anything can happen in this league. So Man United might, start winning every single game they're playing. I doubt it, but you never know. So yeah, we can't rule out them two either. But I feel like if you look at the league table here, you're going to say it's between Tottenham and Arsenal with them games in hand.
Yeah, you never know what can happen in this league. Manchester United might actually go and storm everything. But I think after their first half performance described as a soccer aid match,
yeah,
I'm not too sure about that. But the relegation battle, you might think the top four and the top two race are hotting up. Well, relegation battle is getting even intense here as well. We saw none of the sides in the bottom four pick up a win this weekend, only Norwich actually picking up a single point. But we did see a big clash on Wednesday between Burnley and Everton. A win here for Burnley would have seen them go 1 point closer to that safety, and actually behind Everton, who are currently holding that last position of safety in the Premier League. But they knew if they won here, they could extend their gap to 6 points to Watford, and still with a game in hand, 2 games in hand as well. That is the crucial thing. But it was a very, very intense match, which saw 5 goals scored. Dan went for a 1-1 draw. Well, it ended 3-2 to Burnley on the night, winning 3 points. Having to come back from a 2 goals down to win 3-2 against Everton, which has now seen them go only 1 point behind Everton. And now with a chance, with Everton playing Manchester United on Saturday, Burnley playing Norwich, Everton could be in the relegation zone by Sunday afternoon, which is now seen them only 1 point away from safety. Dan, a very crucial match, a thriller. I don't think anybody expected 5 goals. Burnley, who can't score a goal to save their lives, scored 3. That is unheard of. I think they've used all their lucky tokens to get all the 3 goals here. But Sean Dyche's side, it's now fired up for him. He's now got his side that we all expect to see. We know Burnley, they can produce a result. He praised the mentality of his side here, but does he now know he's got 2 games in hand, which they're on 29, Everton are on 29. He now knows they just need to pick up another win or a point. They're outside that relegation zone for the first time, I think, this whole season. But we know that Sean Dyche and Burnley, when they win 1 game, they could go on a run of 3 or 4 here.
They can, yeah. And as I said about my predictions, they're always wrong. And I guess I can get some slack on this one because I don't think anyone expected Burnley to score 3 goals. I certainly didn't, obviously. But yeah, it was a massive win for them. And we know about Burnley. They've done it for so long in this league. When they're in a sticky situation, they somehow manage to get out of it. Sean Dyche is perfect at doing that. So yeah, as you say, if they can just get a few wins together or get a draw and a win out of their next 2 games, they'll be out of that relegation zone and they'll have the momentum to take it further. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in that aspect because they've got Norwich coming up, which is a winnable game because we know how poorly Norwich have done this season, and who have Burnley got for the rest of the season. They've got Watford. They've still got to play Watford. They got Newcastle as well. And compare their games to Everton's. I feel like Everton have probably got a tougher games coming up. So they'll be looking at this and thinking, yeah, we can get out of this fight and stay up. So yeah, let's see what happens with that. But for Everton, I mean, I feel like they're a massive surprise as well this season, and especially after Frank Lampard came in. Everyone thought that he'd be able to get the job done and keep them up, but it's kind of gone the opposite way. They're now 1 point away from relegation zone, which, Everton in the Championship, I mean, it's never happened, has it? It's never happened. They've never got relegated. So it'll be crazy to see it. But as I say, they've got so many tough games coming up. They've got Man United next. They've still got to play Liverpool. They've still got to play Chelsea. I think they've got to play Leicester twice.
Yeah.
They've got to play Arsenal as well. So it's not looking good for Everton, is it? And if they go down, this is going to be, a massive story that everyone will be talking about because Everton in the Championship, I mean,
it's unheard of, isn't it?
Crazy stuff. Yeah.
It's like saying pigs fly, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
If I could be honest, it's like saying pigs fly, Everton in the Championship. But no, that two wins from the last 9. They haven't won away since August. It's crazy. A club of their size shouldn't be near this, but they are. And I will have to ask, I think another difficult question here, Dan, is I think we know Everton getting relegated. It's now a serious threat. It's not, it's not like, it's going to be all fine and rosy. It's a serious threat. But the question is, I'm going to ask you, by the end of the season in May, will Everton be relegated?
Oh God. It's another difficult question, isn't it? I don't want to sound like Everton haven't got a chance because they've got the players that can do it. But when you look at the games they've got coming up, as I say, they've got so many tough games. You'd say that Burnley have the better run in. With the way that they're playing, as you say, haven't won away since August. It's just not looking good for them. I'm going to make a bold prediction and say they are going to be in that bottom 3 come May. It all depends on Burnley, though, doesn't it? I think they're I guess they're the important team in this. Whether they can, pick up that win on Saturday against, or whenever they play against Norwich, which they should do. If they can win a few more games, then I think that's Everton's fate, isn't it? So, yeah, let's see what happens. But yeah, I'm going to say they are going to get relegated, and that'll be crazy to see. And I'm sure you'll be pleased about that. But you got to keep professional.
I will keep professional, but I will say this. I will say one thing. I will miss those 6 points if it does happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
I will say that. I will miss the 6 points. So, Frank, don't get relegated, Frank. All you can do, just don't get relegated. I want to see 6 points at the start of the season next year. That's all I want to see. Well, as we haven't got enough time here, we are going to quickly just run through the Champions League results before we get, before the referee blows the whistle for full time. So Liverpool, they played Benfica on Tuesday night, which they walked away with a 3-1 win in Portugal. But Jurgen Klopp has highlighted that they are not in dreamland just yet. as they still got to play the Portuguese Giants at Anfield next week. Man City, they got a crucial goal against Atletico Madrid to have a 1-0 lead over the Atletico Madrid team as they head now to Atletico Madrid in a very tough performance, which saw them just get that one goal. Chelsea, they suffered a tough night against Real Madrid. They lost 3-1 thanks to Karim Benzema hat-trick, which saw them now take a 3-1 lead into the next leg. Thomas Tuchel's now basically highlighted that they need a miracle because their Champions League hopes are now practically over. And Villarreal caused a massive shock by beating Bayern Munich in a game of Champions League football, a 1-0 win for the Yellow Submarines as they now take that to the Allianz Arena in Germany to see if they can make it through to the semi-finals for the first time ever in the club's history, in the first ever time of being in the Champions League as well. Fun fact for you. And that is all we've got for time for the show this week. Dan, I want to thank you very much for joining me this week. Will I see you next week, which I probably will, where we'll talk about Town, hopefully with 3 points. Then this massive running they've got coming up, the Premier League, and also those other Champions League results as well.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot to talk about. So yeah, I'll definitely be here next week. Hopefully with 3 points at Shrewsbury.
Yes,
It'll be a happier show.
He'll be a happier show, and he will be with me as always. I hope you can join us next week as well. So before I go, I better mention the social media Twitter at Pitchside Talk, Instagram's at Talk_Pitch, YouTube and Miss both at Pitchside Talk. If you want us back to any of our pre-shows, do not worry, they're up there on YouTube and Mixcloud. So I've been George this week. He's been Dan as always. We'll see you next week, and ciao.
Yeah.
The whistle has been blown for full time. Tune in next week for another jam-packed show.